There are tons of myths and legends surrounding Russia among foreigners. Some are funny, some are scary, and some are both, such as bears strolling down Russian streets. We don't have bears on the streets for the most part, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, we created a list of the most interesting myths about Russia, and we will try to debunk them together. My name is Maria, and you are watching Study with GE, a channel about study and life in Russia. Let's go! It's always cold in Russia. People assume that because Russia is in the northern hemisphere, if it's in the north, it must be cold, right? Not exactly. The thing is, Russia is between the 31st and 81st northern longitude lines. Pretty big span, am I right? And so, if at the southern end the average temperature is +5 Celsius in the winter and +28 in summer, in the northern end we'll have the opposite, -28 Celsius in winter and +1 in summer. Sounds nuts! And even when we look at places in the middle that share the same longitude, such as Moscow and Krasnoyarsk, the weather will be different. The winter average in Moscow is -5, and in summer it's +19. And Krasnoyarsk, which is deep in the country, is chiller. It's -15 in winter and only +15 in summer. But those are just the average temperatures. Russian weather likes to set records. For example, in St. Petersburg, the so-called northern capital, the heat record was recorded in 2010, 37 degrees Celsius, while the lowest temperature on record, -41, was recorded all the way back in 1767. But those are exceptions. In reality, the weather in St. Pete is quite comfortable, just windy. With all that information, we can conclude there are all sorts of weather in Russia, so you can choose where to go, whether you like the heat or cold. Russia means Russians? Well, what does Russian mean? In Russia, we have separate words to describe ethnic Russians, Русские, and all Russian citizens, Россияне. And if citizenship is easy to grasp, ethnicity is a whole different thing. Russia is represented by more than 190 nations. Of course, ethnic Russians are 71% of population, but there are plenty of other groups, such as Tatars, Chechens, Bashkirs, Armenians, Kazakhs, Darginians, Azerbaijans, and even Greeks. Hi there! Carpets on the wall in every house. Why do you need them? Well, it's an old tradition and you can still find them all around the country. It's not as much of a fashion statement as a practical decoration used to keep the heat. In many wooden or just old houses, after some time, the walls get weathered and can't keep the cold air out like they used to. That's where the carpet comes in, an easy and elegant solution. But what about more modern houses? The apartments are heated and no rich cold air can come in. What's the point of wall carpets then? Well, the answer is that the Soviet walls were paper thin or had a lot of vents, which meant your neighbors could eavesdrop on you. So carpet comes to save the day again, making the apartment soundproof. And so the carpets remain till this day, maybe to remind people of their use, maybe just because they are aesthetically pleasing. But in the new houses, they are the rarity. All Russians drink vodka. That's a truly popular one. But let's get things straight. Vodka is a traditional Russian drink, but it's not only consumed in Russia. There is so-called vodka belt that besides Russia includes such countries as Belarus, Kazakhstan, Slovakia, Armenia, Bulgaria, and even Cyprus, for example. By the way, you can see on the map that the proportions of vodka and beer consumption in Russia are practically the same. Vodka has been a staple for a long time. Originally, it was considered a peasant drink, while aristocrats enjoyed wine, but as the time went on and class disparity leveled, it became a national drink of choice. It's still consumed predominantly by men, while women usually use it as the base ingredient for cocktails like White Russian or Sex on the Beach. Traditionally, vodka drinking is accompanied by a whole feast with plenty of appetizers and dishes, like potatoes and herring, a variety of salads, pickled cucumbers and tomatoes, and a hot main course, meat or fish. It's frowned upon to drink vodka on empty stomach, and for a good reason. It can lead to serious digestive issues. All that said, it might seem like vodka is an important part of daily life. but the consumption rate is decreasing steadily. It went down 40% in the last 10 years as Russians began to take their health more seriously. The second part of the myth is that if you refuse vodka from the diner host or a colleague, they will lose their respect for you. We have a saying that translates to what a sober person has on their mind and drunk has on their tongue, because after a few drinks, a person feels more relaxed and easy to talk to. As Russians are typically reserved and rarely partake in therapy, it seems like drinking with friends is a great way to unwind. If you respect me, you must drink with me. But in reality, people understand that this is not for everyone, and nobody will pressure you to drink if you don't want to. It's only a myth. Russians never smile. This one is easy to bust. How can people be smiling in one country but not the other? Sounds crazy! In the olden times, Russian peasants had to work hard in the fields, only getting to have fun and smile for a short time at the end of every day. Well, aren't we all? Modern Russians love to have fun and smile like everyone else. But there is a difference. Unlike many foreigners, Russians reserve their smiles for the people they like. A smile in Russia is a sign of respect and trust. So it's not common to smile at random people, as they may suspect that something isn't right with you. As the saying goes, laughing with no reason is a trait of a fool. Nevertheless, smiling as a sign of courtesy is commonplace, and if you share a sincere smile with a person, they will definitely smile right back. I hope that today you've learned at least something new about Russia. By the way, if you want to ask a question or debunk some other myth, feel free to do that in the comments below. We will tackle the best ones in our next video about myths. That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Bye bye! And remember, you are the architect of your own future.